Hey everyone, I thought I would do a video on kind of passive income because this has been I guess kind of an interest of mine and kind of something I've been working and striving for quite some times for a variety of reasons. You know, um, but I feel, especially when I first, I guess, started getting into it, and when people get into this, they kind of there's a lot of like misunderstandings and kind of misconceptions and stuff like that. The word passive income is kind of a bit misleading because really the only way, the way that only way that you really can do passive income generally is if you're like really rich and wealthy and you can have a lot of funds and money to kind of invest in kind of all that, or if you get a lot of inheritance and stuff like that. Um, in actuality, and the actual truth is, you kind of go from something kind of active, semi passive, to kind of passive. And there are a number of ways you can do this. Some methods and kind of things lend more to it. You can kind of start scaling up more and more, or but generally, when you start out, like even if it's a product, if it's a service, if it's like coaching or something, starting out, you do have to put generally in a decent amount of work, even if it's affiliate marketing, if it's, even YouTube. You start out and then you kind of improve upon it. And as you start making more and more and getting momentum, then you start to kind of create processes and systems. And then you can hire people or outsource it and stuff like that. And then it becomes, instead of you being like a big part of it or like in the center of it, you're kind of like at the top of it, or kind of like an outside presence. Um, so you can do this with a lot of things. You can do this with kind of a product. You could even do this with blogging. I suppose you could say you can do this on Amazon. You can do it technically with kind of Amazon FBA and other stuff. Um, but it's just, I think, you know, um, generally speaking, most people I know of, um, I know, well, aside from maybe a few people personally, and maybe more so online, is that they generally kind of have one main income, and they may have a little bit investing and stuff like that. Typically in like 401k, um, IRA or something, but it's something that they really can't touch until they're about 65 or so. Typically, um, there are some kind of ways around it, and you can use it for investing and stuff. But generally, it's about one, maybe two if they're really lucky, kind of sources of income. Um, and there's just, I don't know. I just think it's kind of I get like kind of like the working economy and stuff, but you're really trading your time for money. It's really work for work. Um, a lot of it was inspired kind of like by Timothy Ferriss's book. Um, I think the title is a bit misleading. People think that you can just start working like 4 hours a week, and it's more like you kind of ease into that, or you change into it. And he actually details a lot of the big picture, big step plans, but you kind of have to figure out the little steps on your own and kind of figure out a good idea or whatever. And then you can do it with a bunch of other stuff. You can even do it with some jobs. Which I do like. With one thing about COVID is a lot more jobs are going remote, and a lot more jobs are becoming flexible, and the work-life balance. But I would really encourage, if you have ideas, to work on them. I've tried a lot of them. I do think you have to kind of find a middle ground of something you either like doing or passionate about, that you don't mind doing, putting time in, but also that will also make you money and stuff like that. And generally, you have to find kind of a niche, kind of find your own niche and kind of a narrow topic, and then sometimes you can expand on that and kind of branch out and stuff. There are some ways, I think, even if you make no matter how much money you make, you can always um, there's kind of advantages and disadvantages, but gonna kind of go into the minimalism route, is trying to kind of spend, which is what I try to do as much as I can, is try and only spend on stuff that I really, really want or need, that would kind of improve my life, even if it's food or even going out or fast food, which I really kind of do. Um, and then you can kind of save or invest. I don't really typically recommend kind of a traditional savings account just because they're so low and it doesn't even beat like the inflation rate. Um, I think you can invest it and save or put in some savings account for crypto. I have heard of some other options like Kefir was one that I was just thinking of actually. But you can invest in, like I've started investing. That's one thing that, although I recently quit at my job, I would listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of audiobooks on investing and kind of making money and wealth and kind of the mindset and stuff like that. But you really want to use your money to kind of as seed money. I think even Pagan was, I think, someone that kind of said that, but others may have said that as well too. To kind of invest it in yourself, and invest it in businesses, invest it in certain things. Because some things you can get a decent return on, even with a relatively small amount of money, and you can start saving off of, and then you can either reinvest it or whatever. I've done a variety of things. I mostly use kind of apps or websites, but Arrived is one I'm looking into. That's a vacation rental shares instead of having to buy real estate. There's a bunch of different ways of doing real estate, I think, that are, aside from becoming a realtor, buying a property, which is always a good route. I think real estate is generally a safe bet. There's all kinds of different stocks as well too. I would generally recommend kind of dividends. That seems to be kind of most worthwhile, and I tend to go from anywhere 3% yield to up, and I kind of branch it out. Like I probably anywhere from about 50 to 100 stocks is probably what I choose, probably what I have on my Robinhood. There are some real estate. There is peer-to-peer lending. I think you can get a decent return on that. I use Prosper. Ground Floor is one where you can it's kind of peer-to-peer lending, but it's for kind of rental, or it's house renovations and stuff like that. My cat is kind of going nuts if you can't hear, which is a bit distracting. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways. There's coaching and services and stuff that you can provide. There's apps, there's websites, there's there's mining, crypto mining, Bitcoin mining, especially. There's a bunch of different ways. One way that I've been promoting some, and I may do a separate video on it, and I think I've been linking to it, is actually Crypto Tab, which you can install on mobile and desktop, and you can mine, and then you can invite more people, and the more people you invite and they invite, it's kind of like a MLM pyramid, but you don't really have to pay for anything. You can, if you want to kind of, you can get boosts, and you can there are some ways to kind of use Bitcoin that you can either mine or you can buy it. There are some other kind of simple apps. I may look into ASIC mining in the future. I have invested in yield nodes, but the only thing is that it does require a kind of higher upfront cost, and you don't see really returns, or you can use them for about 6 months or so. And it's kind of a long withdrawal process for security purposes. But I do see everything I've read about it, all the reviews I've seen, even the month that I've been investing in, it's been doing so well, and you can get anywhere from a 5 to 15% return monthly, and then if you compound your profits as well too, you could easily double your money within 6 months or so. It is paid out in Bitcoin and Ethereum, so there's that. Interest accounts in crypto, that's a good way to kind of, I think, save and kind of build some wealth. There are some kind of stable coins, but there's also Bitcoin and stuff. Some of them you can get 10% or more interest yearly, which is actually pretty good. And Arrived, rental shares, it seems like I was trying to figure out, it's not crystal clear, but I think you could get decent, like, kind of monthly returns, even on the minimum is like 100 per thing, and while they're kind of invested in, or I think they're loaning for the amount of time, you basically get to share the rental income, and it doesn't require you to have a bunch of upfront capital or money or other stuff. And there's other stuff like that. There's there's promissory notes and a bunch of other stuff you can do as well too. There's a multitude of ways, especially online. uh, e-commerce and drop shipping, that's kind of one way you can do about it. I have been doing a little bit of print on demand. I do have an Etsy store. Kind of trying that. That is actually kind of fun. I kind of enjoy that, kind of just designing random stuff. Mostly shirts, but I've been designing also some coffee mugs and face masks and other stuff. And it's pretty simple and easy to do. It doesn't really require much. Etsy is pretty low cost, I think, compared to eBay and other places. They tend to be more homemade and handmade and stuff like that, and you can actually advertise and sell digital. I don't think you can necessarily drop ship, I'm gonna say, or do retail arbitrage, which is a pain. But I've kind of been moving away from that. Although I have been trying some on Facebook Marketplace. Be honest, so far only one sale though, so I can't say much about it. But yeah, there's also writing and stuff like that. I wrote a Kindle. I'm probably going to split that up and write some more books in the future. I may, if I decide to kind of do the health coaching and kind of health consulting, I would like to do that, but it just, with my health right now, it still needs a decent amount of help itself. So there's that. But yeah, you can do kind of webinars, you can do Udemy and do courses and stuff. There's a lot of different options and stuff like that. But I really think, honestly, creating multiple sources of income, finding, whether it's part-time or full-time, trying to find jobs that will you can learn. And I think learning and earning more, even if it's like sales and marketing, trying to make more money and then use that money to, instead of buy randomly useless shit, materialistic shit, invest it in wealth. And then I think in time, it's just going to be eventually, especially for me, is be able to kind of live on this and then create more and more and more. And you'll be able to have more time freedom and kind of financial independence and not be stuck necessarily to like a location or a job or anything like that. And I think really with kind of I don't know if it's been a coincidence or so, I know Timothy Ferriss actually is not super well known. I mean, I guess if you follow him enough, he's actually been through quite a bit of health challenges himself. He's been through traumatic experiences, childhood stuff, depression. He had Lyme disease. But I really think, especially if you're dealing with health stuff, I think it's kind of the way to go. You can even be a influencer in kind of that space, which is something I looked into as well too. But yeah, I really think if you like working and stuff, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think people should really kind of try and work smart and hard, and kind of direct their energy towards that, because I know it seems to be becoming kind of old-fashioned or obsolete, kind of, I think, in my opinion, kind of like doing this 40-hour work week. You're seeing a lot more people with kind of all these kind of chronic illnesses and stress and burnout and stuff like that. I've experienced a lot. Yeah, I think really when money really is an issue and you don't really have to be so kind of stressed and worried about it, you can really kind of actualize or kind of activate or kind of I guess self-actualization and really unleash your potential. I think honestly, a prime example is people like Timothy Ferriss, but also like Dave Asprey, even I don't want to say Tony Robbins because I think he works quite a few hours. But yeah, so you can kind of work where you want, and you can pursue all these different opportunities and stuff like that. I have a lot of different ideas. It's just kind of, a lot of times you have to market them or market research and then kind of test them out and then see what happens. That's kind of my approach. I do try and kind of focus on a few things at once. I don't try and spread myself out too thin. But try and do something that you kind of enjoy or that you would like to do. There's a lot of different ways. Just go after it. But yeah, I think that's about all I have to say. I just think there's a lot of misconceptions, because especially the phrasing or the word passive income, I would say it's more semi-passive, or you kind of transition to kind of active to kind of semi-passive to passive. And there's a ton of different ways to do that. You can use VAs, outsourcing systems, processes. This is how people that run multiple companies, say like people like Elon Musk, although he does work a ton of hours, he's able to run all these things is because he has systems and processes, and he has people that he works with. And if he really wanted to, he could probably create more system processes and hire people to take care of more of it. So yeah. But I think it's really like you have to kind of do a lot of inner work, outer work, and kind of work on yourself, and kind of keep trying and keep going, I think. But yeah, tell me what you guys think, or you think experiences. Are you guys trying anything? Do you like your work? Do you don't like it? Do you recently quit a job? And all that. So let me know, and I'll see you guys later. I'm going to try to upload more often, maybe my podcast more often, and upload maybe some different kind of videos as well too. Investing, maybe some apps and stuff I use, and websites and stuff that I've been doing. But yeah, see you all later.